Continuing now with our lead story, the far left punishing people with whom they disagree, with George Soros giving NPR $1.8 million. Now it becomes apparent that the godfather of the radical left in this country is trying to intimidate people on the other side of the political spectrum. Yesterday, the vicious, dishonest Media Matters organization announced that Soros gave them $1 million to counter Fox News, counter being a code word for attack. Please keep in mind that all last week, liberals were screaming about donations being made to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Joining us now from Dallas, Fox News analyst Karl Rove is in the middle of the financial business. So what do you say, Mr. Rove, about this?
I'm furious. Look, Juan Williams, he and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, but he's a man of enormous integrity, incredible ability, and an interesting mind. And, for the National Progressive Radio to fire him for deviating from their political correctness is shame on the National Public Radio. Shame on them. I mean, James Toronto had a wonderful piece today in WallStreetJournal.com where he said, you know what? Here are some of the things that Juan has said over the years that are clearly liberal, and he never got fired by National Public Radio for that. But when he deviates from this politically correct attitude by offering an observation that probably most Americans agree with, they cashier him, and they cashier him in a stunningly insulting fashion.
Sure.
That woman in Atlanta today, I mean, shame on her. Shame on her.
She can't hold the position. She's got to go.
She has dishonored the position that she has held.
Absolutely.
And look, for years we have known National Public Radio, National Progressive Radio was left of center, but it has gotten over the years increasingly further left. And by doing this, it has demonstrated that it's not even willing to take an honest liberal and keep him aboard, but they're going to cut him loose at the first sign of deviation from political correctness. Our country needs to save money. Why don't we save money by cutting off the federal subsidy to what ought to be a private enterprise anyway, and that is National Public Radio.
Well, that's going to absolutely happen, but you guys should have done it in the Bush administration, because this is the biggest con game in the world.
You know what? We tried. We tried to cut back funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting several times. And look, the problem is every little public radio station says, oh, well, this is our source of news and information. Well, we have demonstrated now to us with clarity that this is not about news and information. This is about political correctness, about an increasingly left-wing tone. And they can't even take an honest liberal like Juan Williams and tolerate him. They have to cast him out in a particularly, I think, vulgar and pitiful way. This man served them with distinction for 10 years, and they cast him out over the telephone without even the courtesy of a phone call from the superior who made the decision. And then she turned around in Atlanta and insulted him, calling him a wacko and a nutcase, and suggesting he said what he said on Monday in order to garner publicity. Oh, he ought to take this up with his therapist or his publicist, whichever. I mean, how pitiful is that woman? Shame on her. Shame on her.
What about the link to Soros? I mean, I'm making this. If you give NPR $1.8 million, as he did, ostensibly to hire reporters, and number one, they should have never taken the money at all. That would be like, you think they would have taken $1.8 million from Richard Mellon Scaife, the conservative?
Yeah, exactly,
would they have taken?
Exactly. What would have happened? Yeah. And not only taken the money, but remember, he is giving a grant for a specific program. The program is a program in, quote, enterprise journalism, where they will hire 100 reporters, 2 per state capital, in order to cover what is going on in the states, and not simply to look at the here and now of what's going on in those state capitals, but to look at the consequences of big issues over a long period of time. Look, this was a grant that George Soros' foundation sat down and negotiated with National Public Radio. We ought to be able to understand with clarity what they agreed to, and allowing him to define the nature of the program, staff the program, set its policies, and monitor it. There's no foundation in America that just gives a grant like that to an enterprise program and simply fires and forgets. He is intimately, and his people are intimately involved in this.
And this
Soros
is buying up. Well, no, this is the big important point. Soros, as radical left as they come, a billionaire, his holding company is based in Curacao so he can dodge American taxes, is buying up the media in the sense that $1 million of Media Matters solely to attack Fox News, $1.8 million to NPR to manipulate how they report to the American public.
And remember,
pretty insidious.
He's increasingly focused on state-level initiatives, either to gut drug laws. He's behind a lot of the legalization efforts. He is also trying to gut the Electoral College. He's got a whole series of initiatives which he is pursuing at the state level. And what better thing to do than to hire a bunch of liberal journalists under the umbrella of the National Public Radio in order to investigate these causes and follow them over the course of years to demonstrate how much better America would be if we simply followed Soros's far-left agenda. I mean, this is, again, a sign of the decay within what used to be a great institution, National Public Radio.
All right, big scandal. This is a huge scandal. And, you know, we're going to follow this story very intensely. Mr. Rove, thanks very much. Directly